What's up guys, C2113 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Wing Liang's newest Kickstarter Aragon watch with flat tritium tubes and a Swiss ETA movement. Alrighty guys, I did pre-order this thing a few months back, but it's finally here. I'm lucky to have been at the door at the time when they delivered it because you do need to sign for this. This is not a package you're just going to leave there. Now, I haven't opened this at all. I have waited to do this video because I wanted to share this experience with you on camera. About the only thing I've done here is mutilated the label a little bit to remove my information. So again, this thing was on Kickstarter for a while. He only made a limited run of 200 pieces, or a total, with 100 pieces of each color execution. I went for the blue color, although some prefer the all blacked out look of the black. The black, by the way, has a matte colored watch dial, whereas the blue has a sunray sunburst dial. So I'm gonna just take out my information here again, but I will fold it over so that I can show you. As you can see here, this is the model. It is the Aragon Virtuoso T100 Swiss ETA 2824. And it was at a price of $600 on the Kickstarter. And of course, very well packaged by Aragon. It's very well wedged in the box here, or remove it. And unlike all the other Aragon or Android watches I've had, this comes with Aragon's full display case. So as you can see, here it is. And I really love these boxes. I even considered buying one of these for my Parma, but you know, I decided against it because it didn't feel right. I wanted a watch that came with it, and I didn't really see a need for it. Although again, these are very nice, nicely padded, and so there it is. Again, comes very nicely packaged. Nice cushion there, and we see here we just have a manual. And the bonus with this watch, by the way, is of course, unlike a lot of other watches, including many Aragons, the bracelet is not sized with pins that require to be, you know, pushed or tapped out. They're sized with flathead pin screws. So the actual pin bars that go into the bracelet links use an included flathead screwdriver, which again, I love that they included this. Again, it makes sizing real nice and easy, and doing it with a screwdriver is just so much more elegant than the pins. Again, nothing wrong with the pins, but you know, there's just a level of extra class and luxury that comes with sizing via flatheads. So we'll move that. And there is that beautiful blue dial. Now this also, of course, comes with your sapphire crystal. It's got a helium release valve here, and of course this is 3,300 feet rated. So this is going to be able to go down to 3,300 feet equivalent water pressure. That means pretty much for everyday use, this is completely impervious to water jets, any type of high pressure application, jumping into pools, that sort of thing. So great water resistance. You've got a screw down crown. Of course, you've got a Swiss ETA movement that's also got your date window. So let's go ahead and remove this so we can see this beautiful bracelet here. Now this bracelet and the watch case is made from titanium. And you've got your push button clasp here. Now the bracelet is titanium, but it is also coated with an IP coating, I believe, and it is coated black. Now, obviously, you know, there are some downsides with an IP coating, but this has nothing to do with Aragon. It's more just the innate, the inherent issues with any sort of coating, which is that, of course, it can scratch and wear off. But, you know, just inspecting this here, it does appear to be pretty durable. And again, this is a thing that you're just going to have to take into account with any IP coating, is that you got to be careful. You got to be careful. It's going to rub off if you're not careful and you scratch against something hard. So, you know, don't be like me and forget to take your watch off while you're working on your car, because that'll do it. And the last one we got is just the sticker on front of the sapphire crystal here, which is absolutely beautiful. So I just want to show you here, if you can see that beautiful sunray dial there. I absolutely love that. And another thing I love about this watch, of course, is I have, as you know, a Android Dive Master Corsair T100. Now, that watch is amazing, and it's an old school Android design before they changed their name to Aragon. But the thing that I don't like about any of their new watches that I do like about that one is that it has the hash marks in between each of the major 5-minute markers. And that just gives me a more precise view of time. Now, I know there are people out there that can literally look at a watch that has 4 cardinal markers and be able to tell the time. I cannot do that, okay? I absolutely cannot. I depend on not only just the 5-minute markers, but just the minute markers, because for me, knowing exactly what minute it is makes a difference. Now, I know some people are just like, oh, well, you know, it's sometime after 5:30. Well, for me, I gotta know exactly, is it 5:31, is it 5:33? And having these marks, I don't know if you can see that on that beautiful face, all the marks are there. So again, that makes it very easy to tell time with this thing. The date window is easily visible. That was actually one of my gripes on the Dive Master Enforcer T100, was that despite having a magnification, the window wasn't quite big enough for the number display, and as a result, the date window was always a little difficult to read. Now, of course, you've got your unidirectional bezel here, which is great for timing things, specifically for diving, but of course, this can be used for anything. Very tight turning bezel. There's no back rotation, which of course is very important for diving, and lines up perfectly. Now, you know, that's sort of an anal nitpick, but of course, a high quality watch should have 0 alignment issues, and this one, as you can see, has none. Of course, you've got your flat tritium tubes in there, which are all green, save for the second hand and the 12 o'clock position. Now, this one doesn't have an exhibition case back. Instead, it has a solid stainless steel back. But again, I have to say, comparing the two, I'm going to compare the Parma that I'm wearing, which is sized for my wrist, and the new Virtuoso Special Edition here. In terms of weight, this thing is night and day lighter. And again, that's because the case and the whole entire bracelet are made from titanium. So I'm loving this. Tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I was planning on just making this an unboxing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this size for my wrist and come back to show you what it looks like on my wrist. Again, this is a 48 millimeter case, and this is also a 48 millimeter case. So I can show you a comparison and see how it is. So I'll be right back, guys. Alrighty, guys, I've got the watch adjusted and sized up for my wrist, and there's a couple things I want to go over when it comes to sizing on this watch. Now, because it has a dual-ended deployment clasp instead of the adjustable security clasp of the Parma, as you can see here, you don't have the same micro adjustments. And while that is good for a visual aesthetic, as in this looks far more clean and symmetrical, as you can see, than here, the issue is, of course, you don't have the same level of micro adjustment. However, if you don't care a whole lot about keeping both sides exactly symmetrical, there is a sort of micro adjustment present. If you'll notice here, towards the end, this last link before your cross lock bar piece here, which is flat, and basically your final connecting link to the clasp itself, this link is actually smaller. It's about, let's say, 2/3 the size of all the other links, which are all the same size. And so if you wanted to, you could remove just one of these links and remove a smaller amount than a whole link. Likewise, you could add in one on the other side and so forth. And so that gives you sort of a micro adjustment, but it's not obviously as great as having, you know, the micro adjustments in a clasp like this. That's just something you give up with a super clean and elegant lock and clasp like this. Now, that being said, for my wrist, it happened to be just absolutely perfect. I have them both symmetrical, both sides symmetrical, and as you can see, fits my wrist just how I like it. Loose enough to give me plenty of movement, and not cause my arm to sweat horribly if it's super hot out, but at the same time, not too much to the point where the watch can rotate all the way around my wrist. So basically, my watch will always stay on this side of my wrist, but will also give me plenty of room to breathe. Now, another thing is, of course, like most of all of their automatic movements, they recommend not adjusting the date when the watch is displaying anything between 9 and 3 a.m. Of course, not a problem, but just to keep that in mind. Another comparison here between the Parma, of course, they're in different leagues entirely, but the Parma's got the movement here that's got, of course, your day and date, whereas your ETA 2824 here just has your date. Now again, not a huge issue for me. My biggest thing, of course, is having to have a date window, as I constantly find myself looking at my watch to figure out what the date is. However, I'm not going to lie, sometimes if I'm indoors for extended periods of time, it can be nice to have the day as well, just to remind myself if I get lost exactly what day of the week it is. Overall, I am thoroughly impressed with this watch. You know, of course, it's pricey, but that's what you get what you pay for when it comes to the Swiss movement and the Flat Tritium tubes. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate that right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to charge up the outer ring here, which of course is Super Luminova on your bezel, and then I'm going to turn all the lights off to show you both the Super Lume and the Tritium, which is on everything, including the second hand. So I'll be right back. Alrighty guys, so as you can see here, I've got the Parma here, and then of course the brand new Virtuoso with the Swiss ETA 2824 with the Flat Tritium tubes. We're going to go ahead and compare the Lume here. Now obviously on your Parma here, you've only got one Super Luminova source here, and then you've just got your standard T100 Tritium tubes. Here you've got Lume all around the bezel, and you've also got your flat Tritium tubes here. So I'm going to charge up the Lume, and then I'm going to turn out the lights. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn out the lights. So, as you can see, the Lume is a little bit brighter here, obviously given that you've got multiple Lume sources all around the bezel here, where here you've only got the back end balancer on the second hand, and of course your bezel marker. Now if we look at our Tritium, I'm going to hold that up to the camera here. That is your Parma with its standard T100 Tritium tubes. Whereas here is your new Virtuoso with its flat tubes. Now unfortunately my camera really isn't picking it up well, but the flat tubes really do increase the viewing area for your Tritium tubes, and although the brightness is pretty similar, the effect is much better in terms of visibility in the dark. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the lights back on, and I just want to conclude this by saying I am really pleased with Wing Liang's new work. This is by far my favorite Aragon watch to date. Now I always, as you know, will have a love in my heart for my first ever Wing Liang design watch that I personally owned, which is the Android Dive Master Enforcer T100. However, that being said, this is my new love for sure. This is a beautiful piece, and it encompasses everything that I like about dive watches, while also incorporating things that I do like as well. Number one, it's big, alright? Now people can tell me all they want that I technically should wear a smaller watch for my wrist. I don't really care. Personally, I just like a big watch, and I've always liked how they look and how it feels in my wrist. Of course though, big watches are heavy. And the huge advantage with this watch is it retains its extremely large size, or relatively large size at 48 millimeters, but being made from titanium, it's extremely light. It's extremely light, yet durable. You know, your IP coating here is very good. It makes the watch look very beautiful and matte. And you combine that with the flat Tritium tubes, which already I will not buy a watch without Tritium. This is the watch to beat in my mind. So again, guys, they're still available. You can get them now on the Aragon site. I believe they'll start shipping beginning of May, so pretty soon. So go snag one of these up before they're all gone. And of course, I'll probably give you some updates in a few months on how much I'm liking it, how the coating's holding up and all that. But I can just say I am so impressed with this watch. You know, it has blown me away. So anyway, guys, if you want some amazing Swiss movement with some flat tritium tubes at an amazing price, I'm not sure you can beat what Wing is asking right now and offering. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, give me a like. If you want to see more, you know what to do, get subscribed. I will leave the link for this watch in the description. And as always, I'll see you next time.